Hello, good morning, everyone. I hope you're all up and about today. Grab your coffee because we're getting an early start with today's fire session. So, in this third virtual session of the Firestarter Incubation Program, you will be learning all about handling organization and team dynamics. So, we're tackling these topics because we believe it or not, aside from the traction, great innovation, prior startup experience, product knowledge, and even industry skills, one of the common things that makes a successful startup is a team that works well together. And because we want you to give the best that Firestarter can offer, we have two esteemed guest speakers on board today's Fire session who are experts on this matter to mentor you on these topics. So our first speaker for the day is Marian Paul Camacho. Marian is the business development manager and development lead at Draper Startup House. He was the former managing director of Nexus Innovation Labs of De La Salle Lipa and former senior key account manager for JobStreet.com Philippines. Marian is also the outgoing community builder of the Halt Prize Philippines on-campus program. He is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Commerce, major in Business Management and Entrepreneurship from De La Salle University and completed his master's degree in Social Entrepreneurship at the Halt International Business School. Now that we've introduced him to you, we'll be passing the mic to Marian now to discuss the topic on handling organization.
Hi everyone. Good morning. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. So again, my name is Marian Camacho. As they said, I'm the business development manager for Draper Startup House. Also working as not outgoing, it's actually still ongoing, community builder for the Whole Prize Foundation, where we're trying to help launch startups based on thematic themes. And also, I am also starting my own company called, which I'll be sharing maybe sooner or later. So with that, I'd love to share my screen so I could present my slides. Okay, can everybody see my deck?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay, I think hold on. Let me just make sure. Okay, sounds good. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity to present this topic, and I hope you learned a lot from this short conversation. So I'll talk about handling organizations. So first, we need to talk about what is an organization. So clearly there's a lot of definitions, but I think this one sums it up perfectly. It is a collection of people working together in a coordinated and structured fashion to achieve one or more goals. And then for this presentation, let's use Microsoft as a good example on how organizations work. So why do they exist? Well, for one reason, I think because working together can achieve more than the sum of the achievements which the individuals in organizations could produce when working separately. So as you may know the cliche, there's a cliche that goes, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So that's pretty much why organizations exist. They exist to make sure that everything is achievable and everything is doable in the long run. So what binds them together? Just one thing. It's pretty much their mission statement. So again, going back to Microsoft, when Paul Allen and Bill Gates started Microsoft, they had one mission in mind, which is a computer on every desk in every home. And for the past decades, they've been able to deliver, although they haven't, I wouldn't really say that they've delivered it 100%, but that's essentially what they delivered in terms of their value proposition. They were the proponents in making sure that every household, or at least in their vision, every home would have a computer on their desks. And with the advent of new technologies like mobile and essentially because I'd say personal computing has significantly decreased, their current CEO, Satya Nadella, revisited their mission statement and transitioned it into saying that now Microsoft is a technology company whose mission is to empower every person and every organization in the planet to achieve more. So it becomes more inclusive, but this is what drives this organization moving forward, their mission statement. So now let's talk about how do we manage organizations. For me, there's a lot of scholarly work on how you could manage organizations, but I'd like to trim it down to three specific parts: purpose, empathy, and leadership. So let's go through it one by one. First is finding your purpose. First, when you understand your purpose, you have to understand first your personal why. And how I personally did it is I used this framework called Ikigai, where you understand what you're good at, the things that you love to do, what the world needs right now, and what you can be paid for. There are some people who argue that Ikigai is not a Venn diagram, which I do agree. But for me, this really helped me out in terms of positioning, in terms of helping me out to understand what I wanted to accomplish in my life and essentially what my purpose is. So just to share, my Ikigai is, what am I good at? I have to say I'm good at growth hacking. I've been in sales for the past, I don't know, like 7 years. I love doing community building. I have been engaged, well, obviously right now I'm working with the whole prize, but I also do some community building work when I was in Seattle, when I was in San Francisco. And even at the time when I was working in different roles, I pretty much lead a lot of other initiatives because we want to bring people together. Third is what the world needs right now. I think we really need people who are developing innovative ecosystems. And that's what essentially I did during the time when I was leading Nexus Innovation Labs at De La Salipa. And then lastly, what can I be paid for? I mean, pretty much business development, because I've been working in this field for the past 7 years. So this is my Ikigai, this is my purpose. And then by merging everything together, I can say that I've really found my purpose in life. So second is, what is your vision? So again, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of statements on what should be your vision statement, but I think this one perfectly encapsulates what your vision statement should look like. Your vision statement should clearly say, what would the world, or answer this question rather, what would the world look like if you were 100% successful? If you are to create a vision statement, it should answer this question. So in our case, the company that I'm building, it's pretty much empowering everyone to scale social good. That's our vision statement. And this is what the world would look like if my own venture becomes 100% successful. Third is, how are you going to do it? So what will be the strategies that you need to put in order to execute your strategies and in order for you to achieve those missions? As they say, your goals should be smart, your strategies should be smart at the same time. So what's important is we develop milestones to reach your vision. You have to create tangible, measurable, and smart metrics in order for us to achieve your mission and in order for us to achieve those goals. So that's pretty much for understanding your purpose. And I actually loved Satya Nadella as a CEO. I admire him so much. He made the statement that, be bold and be right. Sometimes it might seem difficult to prove that this is your purpose, this is what you want to accomplish. But sometimes when you have to do it, you just simply have to do it. And I highly recommend you guys to read this book. It's called Hit Refresh. Uh, it's pretty much helping you understand why I'd say personally how I've seen the transition of Microsoft from the time it was with Bill Gates and now that I feel that it's more progressive, it's more inclusive in terms of its approach in developing solutions for that the world needs right now. Yeah, and then next would be finding empathy, and finding empathy is very, very hard. But there's only one word that can sum up what you need to do to find empathy. And no, it's not Beyonce. It's called listen. Listening is hard because when we talk to our consumers, we want to talk, we want to talk, we want to talk. Rather, we have to listen, 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 because we have to understand what they need. We have to understand their concerns. We have to understand their challenges. And when you find out those challenges, that's how we can properly steer your company moving forward. Listen to your stakeholders. It's always important to listen to each and every one of them, whether it might be your users, your employees, your investors, suppliers, partners, government, media, and overall society. Because without their inputs, you cannot successfully manage your organization because you won't be able to lead it properly to where you want to go it, where you want to bring it. And as they say, put yourself in their shoes. Because when you are looking things from an outsider's perspective, you may never understand why they're experiencing the problems that they face. Like for example, there have been a lot of solutions being introduced to communities around the Philippines by people who are not even from here. And it ends up being a failure because again, they don't understand what these people are experiencing. So hopefully that's one way on how you could find empathy. And then, the last set of slides that I have right now is about finding leadership. But before we talk about finding leadership, let's talk about what isn't leadership. So as Kevin Cruz said from Forbes, leadership has nothing to do with seniority or one's position in the hierarchy of a company, which I agree. It doesn't matter if you're an entry-level person, if you're a managerial position, leadership is in all of us. We all have the opportunity to become leaders in our own right. Second is leadership has nothing to do with titles. It doesn't matter if you're the, if you have the capability to become leaders, then there's nothing that will prevent you from doing that. Leadership has nothing to do with personal attributes. It's not about character. It's about character, but there is so much more to leadership than just personal attributes. And then lastly, leadership isn't management. So when we talk about leadership, of course we think about management, but management is there to essentially guide the organization. But again, everyone has the opportunity to become a leader in their own right. So how do we define leadership now? Well, simply put, leadership is a process of social influence which maximizes the efforts of others towards the achievement of a goal. So, as we say, it's a process of social influence. It doesn't matter how young or how old, how experienced or inexperienced you are. If you have that, I'd say, social influence, you can be a leader in their own right. And by the way, charisma is not leadership. And there are so many ways and so many styles of leadership that you could employ. You could be like a Fernando Zobel de Ayala, who leads Ayala Corporation. You could be a Mark Benioff, who leads Salesforce and tries to give back to their communities. Or you can be, I hate to say, but Elon Musk is a very eccentric leader, but he gets things done. So yeah, just a quick recap of what the three main points that I shared so far. How do you manage organizations? It's about purpose, it's about empathy, and it's about leadership. So I actually kept this presentation short. it's because I wanted to know more about your organizations and how we could probably tailor fit these solutions to address your concerns. So with that, this is my very short presentation, and I'd love to hear more about your ventures and what you, hopefully, how I can personally help to like solve some issues if you currently have anything. So yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Marion. So, what do we do next? Do we have the startups share? What do you want them to do?
Yes, so I actually want them to like, I want to get to know everyone and at least try to understand what are their challenges, what, how we can properly tailor fit a solution to solve their concerns. I actually want to do a round of introductions first because I think this is a very intimate session anyway. We have 14 participants.
All right, anybody wanna go first? Please feel free to volunteer. Otherwise, we'll be calling out
Don't be
vol-
shy.
volunteered speakers.
Actually, I want to like get to know everyone, so I would definitely appreciate if you can introduce yourself, what you do, and then how we could like work out some strategies together.
All right, so I think no one's volunteering, so we'll just call you guys one by one. So let's start with, based on my screen, we have Crystal Nakwa from b.i.t.e.s. Please do the honor of being the first one to share. Team b.i.t.e.s.
Hello, sorry.
Hi.
I really appreciate what you shared because right now we are just starting to expand it and add more people into our organization. So as a startup and um, I mean, me and my brother, we've founded a couple of businesses before, but this is the first time that we've went into like really corporate scale. So this is really important that we were able to know more about, especially about the vision. We really appreciate that and how you would be able to establish the vision in your organization. That stuck with me because it's really important to keep everyone in line with the company's vision. So it's like what I've always heard from other speakers, like always know your why, and the house would be a lot easier. So yeah, I think that's that's all I can share.
Well, Crystal, thank you for sharing. But I'd love to know more about what you do and maybe what we can do because you did say that you're now trying to scale your company into more corporate form. So, what are your current challenges that you're facing in terms of managing organizations? Because
Okay.
as I said in the presentation earlier, right, managing organizations is about like listening, and it's
Yes.
important to like share concerns so that we can
Mm-hmm.
tailor fit solutions to like address your needs.
Okay, great. So, our company or our startup is called b.i.t.e.s. It's a grocery delivery app, and we started here in CDO. So right now we have over 10 merchants currently enrolled in our startup. We have one major grocery which has been handling majority of the orders, but and we under our organizations are riders, we have operators, we also have the CSR. CSR operators fall under CSR. Okay, we have the programmers, the team of programmers, and the recent addition to the team is the marketing team, and we outsourced legalities, so we don't have to worry about the documents and papers, and we also have an accountant under the team. So right now it's really growing fast. So this has been really timely because it's been challenging to adjust to adding more people because communication is really important and you can only fit so many meetings in one day. And right now we're doing 4 or 5 meetings at most each day. So that is the challenge actually. And how do we keep meetings short
Oh,
so that we could do more because we do like lots and lots of meetings. There are lots of other responsibilities that we cannot do because of the meetings that fill up most of our times. So
yeah.
yeah, how do we keep those short?
I actually love your question because I actually was in an institution. I mean, you could see my profile, but I was in some institutions that would like do 2-hour meetings to prepare for the next meeting.
Yeah.
They're meeting to prepare for the next meeting, which I think was always unproductive. My personal take is I always just like to talk. I want to keep everything short, concise, and accurate because you don't want to lose time. You don't want to lose. I have this tendency of dragging conversations. So I'm trying to keep myself also in check by doing that. So this is not about like work. They say you have to work smart. So ideally, if you have meetings, it should not be more than 1 hour. Like for me, 30-minute
Okay.
meetings are always the most effective ones. And how do you carefully curate the agenda for those 30-minute calls or 30-minute meetings? Well, first of all, you don't need to talk about things that you can just send via email or you can
Okay.
send via text, right? Second is, I think you clearly also need to delegate responsibilities and make people more accountable to their roles. I think there's a certain level of trust that you need to establish. Like for example, if it's something about writers, maybe you could just assign someone to handle all their concerns and just trust that person to decide
Okay.
all their concerns about writers. And then when you
Alright.
do your bigger huddle as a bigger team, then maybe that's like, for example, you have 5 meetings a day, and I would think those are very, very different agendas.
Yeah.
So instead of having 5 meetings, why don't you have those 5 people taking care of those 5 different topics, and then let them decide, and then let them be accountable for whatever decisions they might come up with.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much the struggle right now is that it's only me and my brother who are focusing on um like the operations. So um my brother is an assistant I do not have. So I have to like be in many places at once too. So yeah, I really need someone to like I could delegate to do that. But for now, yeah, I think I know someone who could do that for me in my organization too.
I have another suggestion. You need more
Yes.
people?
Hmm.
Do you need more people?
Um, maybe.
Here's a tip. Get interns. Get students who want to learn how to do things. Because again, we all recognize that, of course, the academe can teach so many things, but because of the limited structure and the limited time that we're giving, it might be very also limited what they teach. So we can, this is why internships are there, because we want to complement academic learning and academic, the curriculum with experiences in the real world. So maybe you can get someone who's currently a student and complement his or her learning with real life experience.
Okay.
So that might be something worth considering,
Okay.
especially if you need someone to work with you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for that.
Thank you. You're very much welcome too.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else? I would love to like really take on a lot of questions right now.
Right. As much as possible, we'll have every startup stock. Okay, so let's make the most out of this opportunity. We can minsan lang natin nakukuha si Sir Marian here to join us for this session.
Thank you.
All right, so can we have Dirtbag next?
I
Team
think
Dirtbag.
it was about to say something.
Sorry?
Hello, good morning.
All right, okay. Make sure to introduce your startup as well, guys, okay, before you give your concerns.
sorry. Hello, good morning. This is we are Dirtbag, so our mission is to be the preferred laundry provider in the country. Our background is that we are four in the team. One is an expansion manager for two startups, namely Ninja Van and Oyo Hotel, and I'm what you call this team lead for developers for US company. The other one is a developer, full stack developer, and the fourth one is a professor. So that's the team. Right now, I think we are handling the operations well. Very hard for me. Personally, my what you call this, an issue or issue is how to keep my team engaged. But right now, I think they are engaged as far as what's done by my the first partner, the operations manager. But yeah, the team is very small right now. We have I think 5 employees only. So I think engagement is not an issue yet. Um, um, I sorry, I can't think of any specific issue. It's just my personal issue. I cannot for my work. I cannot keep my team engaged. So I'm just anticipating on that scenario in the startup.
Yeah. Well, for that, I can actually give two advices. First is when I shared earlier about purpose. What is your North Star? What is the goal that you want to accomplish? And then you also have to listen, what are their motivations? Because as an employee, they all have different motivation points, and it's going to be very, very hard to keep track of everyone. When I was in HR, every single person has a different reason why they're working in a company. Some are just there because of compensation. Some are there because of their they genuinely believe in the company and its mission. So to that aspect, you can guide them by making sure that you always align with your North Star or your purpose, because some of them do what's this do believe in your vision. And then second, again, just listen, talk to them more frequently and try to understand their concerns. The more you talk to them, the more you uncover what keeps them motivated and what doesn't keep them motivated. I had a personal issue with another person and how I felt that he was not as engaged as I wanted. And there will be times he's very transparent in what we do. Every time he feels very low, he tells me that he's low. Every time he feels that he's on a high moment, that he's very motivated, he tells me. Just having that transparency, just having that conversations happening over and over again, that's what's keeping him motivated. And I think, as with any leader, we should always be there to support our employees, especially when it comes to performing their jobs. And to a certain extent, even their personal stuff, because building interpersonal relationships with your employees matter a lot. So I think those are the main two things that I can give as an advice to how to keep them motivated.
Hello.
Yep. Hello.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I have another question also. Right now, because I'm working at night and then doing anything I can do to the organization in the morning. So maybe another issue for me is the time management. So I'm already burnt out in the evening when I start to work my 8 to 5 or my evening job. So any tips on that?
Sure. This is actually shared with me by my co-founder. We are trying to employ this 3-hour sprint. where we don't look at our phones, we don't look at our emails, we just do the tasks that are in front of us so we can get things done. My personal way on how I manage tasks is I put everything on my calendar. Make sure that everything is delivered, everything is scheduled, everything is everything is being covered. So I think just by having those, and this is more of a personal management style, by the way. If you have those like hours or minutes of sprint that you don't uh, allow yourself to get distracted by other things, and I know how tempting it is to look at my phone every now and then, but right now I just put my phone on notification so I don't have to look at it right now. Having those hours of sprints where you don't get distracted helps a lot, especially now that we're all most of us are working from home. The distractions are all around. I have a TV at my back, I have my bedroom, I had my bed on my side. So yeah, just have those hours of sprint that you can just focus on doing your tasks, and I think that's going to make a ton of difference.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
Right. Sir, I have one thing I want to add with Dirtbag. So I know you just mentioned they're a team of four, but
Mhm.
what can you give? Advices can you give to them since they're actually doing good right now, but
Mhm.
the scope of their startup is actually huge. All right, so they're doing so good right now. What can you give them? What advice can you give them when they suddenly want to expand or scale up?
Well, again, you're doing really good, so congratulations on that. By the way, another input, just want to add, I think one of the reasons why you're working very effectively is because you have a very diverse team. You have people from your team who are like coming from different backgrounds, and that's very, very helpful because it gives you a more holistic approach. And then second is what's my advice to help you scale? I think, you know, again, as I said earlier, talk to more users, understand their concerns, and if you want to expand into a new market, you have to do the same process all over again. Understand the market, listen to the stakeholders, try to do partnerships with a lot of people, a lot of partners on the ground, and you'll scale. I'm pretty sure about that. I mean, you've already done it. Just keep doing the things that you do, and hire. I'd say, because I think the main barrier right now is what you said earlier, just keeping that motivation. Maybe that might be someone you want to hire in the future, someone who can keep you like grounded, motivated, and just like keep pushing you forward. Yeah, that's me. That's about it for me
All right.
for that question.
All right, thank you, sir. So let's hear from Checkmate next. I'm pretty sure they'll be uh, not exactly asking a lot of questions, but they'll have a lot of takeaways from this as well. But since we know that they had a recent reorganization with their startup. So, Checkmate, please introduce your startup and then talk about your concerns regarding handling organization.
Hello, sir. We are Team Checkmate. Uh, our product is I mean, it's a next generation phone camera checking, test creation, and score storage toolkit for the daily educators' needs. So the product is targeted for our dear educators. Uh, Our team composed of 5 individuals, one project manager, one designer, and 3 developers. We've created this product as a student. Then we released the paid version last February, which is kind of a bad thing because of the pandemic timing. The four of us now are working so we could gain skills so that we could apply it to our product. But one of our team, the main developer, is away from us. is in Bukidnon now, and we're having a hard time communicating and collaborating with him due to the constraints on the internet signal and uh, not in sync with the schedule. Uh, uh, how could hmm?
We had a lot. We are having a hard time on continuing the development of the product since
We have
we are so busy in our work right now. So we only have working on it and development, but just on weekends, like Friday in the evening and then Saturday and Sunday. And we are, although we are busy, but we're busy at our job right now. We are doing our best in developing the app further now.
So, what advice can you give to us to address this kind of situation?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think, of course, working remotely is very challenging, and there's a lot of barriers in making that happen. Like I also had like a few like 2 months ago, my internet connection here was down, and I had to rely on pocket Wi-Fi, which didn't really give me the best like signal and best connection. So I had to deal with that personally because I couldn't do my job. The question though is the developer still very engaged and does he still want to do this? Because
Yes, sir.
okay, if that's the case, one is I think I know signal is poor, but you have to send him a list of deliverables that he has to accomplish in a week. I think right now, just because of what the situation is, it's going to be more of a task-based approach that you send him a list of responsibilities that he has to accomplish by certain times. Otherwise, it would not work out. And then if he has any concerns, then maybe just like do a quick text or an email. And then, I mean, I know internet connection is bad, but how about like phone signal? Can you actually call?
Excuse me, sir.
So what about like phone calls, landline?
We can do phone calls, sir, but we are currently using Slack and communicating it, like monitoring the development side because some integration of the app from Slack that connects to our developers. So we do it right there, but um, the time that we have right now is like we're working daytime and then we are working our startup uh, on the evening. So with our main developer, on he's working on the startup side from on the daytime, then he is off on the evening time. So we are having hard time on communicating on that time. Although I can manage the team on using it kasi siya lang yung nag-iisang wala dito sa team namin in this company that we're working right now.
Yeah.
Although the president of this company is giving us advice on how to do the product, on the development, and those things, but right now that the time is really not that that's not enough for us in developing.
Well, two things on how you can always manage tasks. One is always to hire more people, and then second is prioritize what needs to be prioritized, just from a task management perspective. Now, how can you get more people or more hands to like help you do the job? As I said to the earlier team, get interns. I mean, get students who are willing to learn, willing to. I know it might be hard to trust them with responsibilities because, they might not be as invested as you are, but there are so many students who want to learn. So I think give them this opportunity, and who knows, like if they perform really well, you might actually hire them in the long term, diba? And then second is, just prioritize what needs to be prioritized. I think we are flooded with tasks that we need to do on a daily basis that we sometimes forget like what's really important. And as I told the team, Dirtbag earlier, maybe having those 2 hour, 3 hour sprints with no distractions, just you focusing on your work and your task, I think that might be very, very helpful in at least freeing up more time for you because I think a lot of our time right now is being consumed by distractions. If you can look at your phone, just look at how many hours we spend on a daily basis on social media. I mean, in my case, I'm also guilty of that, and I hope to like decrease that further so I can improve my productivity. But yeah, just keep yourself focused, keep yourself distraction free, and you'll be surprised at the number of hours and the number of tasks that you'll be able to accomplish.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, even like removing the notification from your phone, so you don't have to look at your phone pag nagano siya when you receive a message. That's gonna be very, very helpful.
Yeah, that's all for us, sir.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, for the first three teams, pala, I wish you all the best. I would, and also to all the teams, then I'd love to get involved. I'd love to learn more about your startup, so please feel free to message or send me like any references so I can at least just check it out. Yeah, anyone else?
All right, so let's hear from J Create next. Great.
Hello po. You can hear me?
Hi, Jake. Hi, Jer.
Yes, that's me po. Jake, how do I do this? Sorry kayo po. We're working kasi at the moment in Saturday. So, na-busy ra kayo may sa time to join. Currently, our team is of 5 members including me. It consists of a budget officer, operations manager, R&D, and technical expert. Two of them are co-founders, and I'm focused on sales and marketing, but there's some issues I need to improve on that part. How do I say? JCreate is focused on gadgets or devices to help the community. So what we're doing right now in Saturday morning is we go to our local market and we deploy our non-contact sanitizer dispenser, and we monitor the crowd so that all of them would be sanitized before they would make contact with the vegetables or the items they will buy. So I just came back from there to join in this meeting. So sorry kayo po.
It's fine, but I think well again, this pretty much also tells me a lot about how driven you are in doing your tasks. So that's like kudos to you on that. Yeah, I mean, you have a very diverse team. You have people working in sales. You have a budget officer, so mostly finance, operations, R&D, and tech. So you have a very diverse team, and that's also very important. And this goes for all teams. Once you have a diverse team, you have a more holistic approach in solving a problem. So yeah, kudos to you guys on that.
Thank you. I need to explain pa more or?
I mean, I just want to ask, do you have any like challenges in managing your team? And you said earlier you have a problem with like your sales and marketing like task. Is there anything involving like managing or management that needs to be resolved so that you can better effectively deliver your role?
Not really. The management is fine. It's just the marketing is a bit of a hassle for me because I'm new to this while the rest of my team, they're already experienced. I just need some guidance and they're guiding me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Well, one more tip that as I said earlier, it's just about listening. Understand your customer, understand their needs, and then frame your solution and promote your solution that on how it addresses the need that how it addresses their need.
That's what my team told me, and we're already doing that like before.
Yeah, that's great. Just keep doing it then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jer. Yeah.
All right, so let's hear from Shift Tech next. Shift Tech.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So we are Shift Tech, and our product is Innovate. Uh, Innovate is a startup that will help pet clinics to efficiently keep the records of the pets. We have a product that uses radio frequency technology built with our very own hardware and software innovations to help pet clinics ensure that the data of their clients easily retrieve and avoid loss of record. We are composed of 7 members, 5 developers, and 2 sales marketing. Our recent issue was on how to make sure that you give the job to the right people in your organization.
Okay. Thank you for that. First of all, I'm excited for your company, by the way. I have 12 dogs. So it would be nice to have like a clear, especially for the pet clinic, to have like a clear everything's manual. We all have the records. I think that's gonna be. I'm excited about that part. How do you give the role to the right person? First is the question is how much do you know your team? Because once you know more about your team, then you know their competencies, that you'll know what their motivations are, and then you'll also know how you could. I mean, it might sound bad, but how can you properly utilize their skills in order to deliver like your needs? And then second, I know there will be instances that you have people that like everyone does not know how to do a certain thing, and that's fine. Now the question is, who among them is the most willing to learn, and who among them is the fastest to adapt? So I think by having those two things, you'll be able to assign the right person to the right job.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kent.
All right, so Shift Tech's done. So I hope Piso hand sanitizer is around. Hope. So I guess done. All right. So let's maximize the last
10 minutes.
yeah 10 minutes for the
Yeah.
Q&A. All right,
Yeah.
guys. So ask away if anything you want to ask. I have one.
Otherwise ako magtatanong.
Ay, meron pa?
Otherwise ako magtatanong. Otherwise ako magtatanong.
Oh, pwede rin. Okay. So, pero meron akong tanong.
Yes po.
So, the pandemic must have been a game changer when it comes to handling organization. It's been a challenge, and we've seen how well-known established startups such as Airbnb have made hard decisions to make ends meet. So, di ba nag-lay off sila
Yes.
just a few months ago na maraming tao. So with this pandemic, what advices can you give on how the startups can adhere to the challenges of this pandemic while making their startups grow? Because I think one of their concerns probably right now is making sure that their startup remains fluid, and making business risks during this pandemic might be discouraging.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. One is, okay, we all have that challenge of so one way is, of course, innovate. If you're doing something and then suddenly that gets disrupted, what can you still do to deliver a need without having to but being able to navigate through all these restrictions and regulations? Like for example, when I actually live near Tagaytay, and Tagaytay has been down for the entire year since even before COVID, PAL erupted. So the restaurant industry was down and the tourism industry was down ever since. But what did the restaurants in Tagaytay did? They started doing delivery, which is something unheard of in this area, because again, Tagaytay is more of like a destination rather than a place where they can actually send out like food. And although not everyone became successful at it, some actually did adapt. Some were able to deliver uh, the restaurants here were able to adapt and they were able to survive. And now Tagaytay is reopening, and they are now looking forward to that influx of like tourists going back here and dining in. So that's one. Second, again, diversify your portfolio. You might have. I've spoken to some social enterprises that they had to pause some of their services because they wanted to focus more on what's profitable as of the moment. So they don't have to incur more losses. So that's one way on how you can keep yourself afloat while this pandemic is ongoing. And then third, I think the most critical part of this is just the communication between the team. It takes a high level of trust to delegate responsibilities to each other. So you have to make sure that you delegate, and you have to make sure. And then this is also a more of a question: how much do you trust your team? Because if you can't trust your team, then I have to ask you: are you with the right team? So yeah, those are my three main points that I want to raise on how you can keep yourself afloat during COVID. And I am cautiously optimistic naman din that in the next coming months, things might normalize a bit. Like I went to Manila yesterday. It's almost normal, except for the traffic, which is basically non-existent compared to the normal. So yeah. Anything else? Oh, thank you for that, Char.
Hi, Sir Marion. I'm Rochelle from CDO b.i.t.e.s.
Hello, Rochelle.
Okay, so you've mentioned a couple times that having a diverse skill set is essential in an organization. But
Yes.
how do we achieve unity throughout diversity? I mean, what advice can you give with organizations having, let's say, difficulties and blending multiple personalities or skill sets into a unified team?
Yeah. My take is, and how I do it with my co-founder for my startup is because sometimes we have a very different perspective on how we do things. I tell him, be transparent. Even the smallest concern, let me know. Because I want I want our team to operate with a high level of trust. So that's one thing. And then second, how do you merge everything together? Find common ground. Well, first of all, I always prefer like odd number teams. So when it comes, if you need to vote, then you'd still be okay with it. You can find like a solution. And then maybe one more thing that you could do is you have a team, like say 5 different people from diverse backgrounds. I want the team to appoint or at least get a mentor or an advisor that if any of them, or if even if it's an even numbered team, if you're not able to settle your concerns among your team, go to that mentor, ask that person, what are your thoughts about this? And I think that might getting someone else, a third person, maybe not involved, to give more of an outsider's perspective on how you should approach things, that might actually break the ice when you have a standstill. So yeah, I think that's my answer for
Thank
that.
you, sir.
Thank you.
I think the incubatees can relate as well to that.
Yeah. Yeah, mentors are very, very important, by the way. I have mentors for almost all the different sides of my life. So because I need advice, and even for my own startup that I'm building, we're already gathering people who will act as our mentors, so that if in case we don't agree on something, we can seek his or her advice. And also our mentors are also diverse, by the way.
May I raise a question regarding
Sure.
mentorship? About mentors, how do you approach a person, especially who is really high in position? How do you ask someone to be your mentor? What is the right way to approach someone? Yeah.
Number 1, build a relationship first.
Okay.
Because again, parang panliligaw lang yun ng araw. It really takes time. Because if you approach me right now and ask, can I be your mentor? At first, I'm like, I want to know more about you.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to understand more about our dynamics, how you work, what your vision is. So it takes time to get a mentor, but and I also have a targeted list of mentors that I want to have, who I don't have a personal, well, I have like, I'm acquainted with, but not necessarily have a personal relationship with right now. But you have to work through it. Parang nga, this is, mentorship is also a very personal relationship. So how, just like how you approach your personal relationships, it takes time to build. Um, so that's one. If you have a targeted set of mentors, again, as early as now, start reaching out, start pitching, start building up that relationship.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. You were also saying something about internships? Or wala? Okay, that might be different. Sige, thank you.
All right. All right. So, sir, I think we ran out of time now. So,
Yeah.
any parting words so we can wrap up your part of this sessions?
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me over. Again, I apologize if you feel if the presentation was relatively short, but I really prefer it that way because again, I like to listen more than I'd like to talk, because I think that's the best way on how we can actually solve problems. But at the same time, um, thank you so much for the opportunity. I look forward to the success of each and every incubatee that we have on this call. And like for this, and then for CDO Bites, please, thank you so much for this opportunity. I think I would love to have more conversations with your incubatees and even with your team. I also wanted to start talking to you then. So yeah, good luck, and then please stay safe, everyone.
Right. So, don't worry, sir. Sorry, I'm medyo maingay dito. Okay. Don't worry. Thank you again so much for, despite the short notice for going on board for our session. So, we hope to have you on board again soon. Even
Yes.
as a mentor for fire session, right? That will be a good help, great help to our incubators. Now, before we wrap up, Sir Marion's part of this session, I'd like to ask the incubators to please turn on their cameras for a virtual group photo. All right. So Sir Marion has shared on the chat box his LinkedIn. So make sure if you want to connect with him, just save that URL. All right.
Yeah. Thank you. I have my camera on now.
Yeah, sure. Okay, good. Right. Ay, ako nga pala, hindi na naka-on yung camera. Right. All right. Everyone's on work from home mode. Okay.
Yes.
The rest of the incubatees.
Come on, show your beautiful faces.
We're not done yet, guys. We still have a second part. Sir Marion has to leave early. So that's why we're doing a virtual group photo with him early on.
Yeah. So also, by the way, I hope everyone's doing well and safe. I know the pandemic might be a bit difficult, but we'll all get through this.
Okay. All right, smile. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much again, everyone. I mean,
thank you, sir.
Hindi pa kayo alis, guys.
Hindi pa kayo alis.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Keep safe.
Thank you for the great
Bye-bye.
session. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Alright, guys, so now that we're done with the first part of our session, let's head on to the second one, all right, which is the last part as well. So our mentor speaker for the second part of today's session is no other than Miss Alwyn Russell. And you might recall her as one of the judges during her Spark Track Pitch Day, which was held last month. So Alwyn Joy Russell is a startup advocate and enabler.
She currently serves as a consultant for the IP Nitro TBI. She has an extensive experience in managing incubation programs from her stints with the Asian Institute of Management, Nado Banatao, and UP Enterprise TBI. She has been working closely with the startups from ideation to execution and fostering collaborations and partnerships within the startup community since 2012. Alwyn is also a consultant for the UST Fishered, wherein she reviews and evaluates grant proposals on research and development of universities and establishment of technology business incubators in the country. She is a graduate of Development Communication from University of the Philippines at Los Baños, and recently finished the Advanced Management Program from the Asian Institute of Management. Without further ado, I'd like now to give the floor to Ms. Alwyn to talk about team dynamics.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, Shore, for that poster greeting.
Yes.
Taga-congratulations na may fan sign.
It's my birthday.
Yes, thank you very much. So I know you just had a talk from Sir Marion, but I know we still have a few minutes before 10 o'clock. Would you want to have a quick break and then we start at exactly 10 a.m. or would you want to proceed now? What do you think, Shore, and the rest of the startups that we have today?
Maybe we can take a little break na lang. So, para mag-start ka na lang din ng 10 a.m.
Okay, that
Okay.
works for me. Okay.
Okay.
See
So,
you
5
in 5
minutes break.
minutes, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I think the 5 minute break is up. I hope everybody's back. Uh, we'll start the session as soon as Miss Alwyn does. All right.
Okay, so good morning again, everybody. So thank you for that introduction, Shore, and thank you for inviting me, first of all, before we formally start this session. So our talk today is going to be about team dynamics. So, but before we proceed to the talk proper, I'd like to ask, sorry, I haven't shared my screen pala. Can I share my screen now? Hello?
Yes,
Sure.
Miss Alwyn, you can. Yeah,
Okay.
there. All right.
Great. Okay. Okay. I'll try it again. Oh no, I can't seem to share my screen. I don't know what's wrong, but can I try to leave the meeting first, or I can just send you the file? Sure.
Can you?
Sorry.
It's okay. Can you try again?
Try sharing.
Sharing, yes.
Oh, okay. Share my screen. It's not showing from my end kasi. Um, Wait lang ah. Can I just send you the slide quickly?
All right. You can, Miss Alwyn, and we'll just download it. Just
Okay.
email it to me. All right.
Sorry. Okay. So our talk is about team dynamics. But before we start, while I'm sharing some files with Shore, I'd like to start this talk with a very quick activity. So the question for that quick activity is, what is the vision of your startup? I'm not sure if you've had sessions on how, on your, or if you've had discussions with your teams as founders, as team members, as teammates, if you've had discussions about your startup vision. So let's start with that question in mind. And if we can utilize the breakout room, how many startups do we have right now, Shore?
I think we have 4. Yeah, we have Dirtbag, Checkmate, e and Shift Tech. Yeah. The J Create had to leave early, and Pieces of Hand
Okay.
Sanitizer is not around. Okay.
Okay. So if we have 4 startups, maybe we can ask those 4 startups. We'll give you them 5, max of 10 minutes to discuss it amongst themselves. If they have team members who are part of the group, um, then I'd like everybody for each startup to share their vision with the group. Would that be okay? So can I maybe sure you can help me out if you have a breakout room, we could ask them um, to have their startup in each breakout room, and then have each startup ready to share their startup vision. A
All right.
sentence or just a sentence or two would be great.
Okay, so we're gonna divide them into their breakout rooms right now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, to 4. Kasi Geisha will be facilitating that. And then, ang time limit, 5 minutes. Or,
Yes, yes,
okay,
yes.
okay.
I think this will just be quick. If you already have your startup vision, maybe you can just reiterate it with amongst yourselves, and then you can just share with it.
All right, okay. So, please sit tight, everyone. Geisha will be facilitating the breakout rooms with your startups.
So while they're doing that, sure, can you check if I shared it via Google Drive. Can you check if you were able to access the PowerPoint?
I got the email, but I don't have access to it. I think
Oh,
it's on private.
it's
Forbidden.
locked. Wait.
Oh, ito na. Okay na.
Okay.
Madadownload ko na. Okay. Ayaw niya talaga.
Ayaw.
Ayaw niya magpa-download.
Okay. Wait. Let's try again. I'll try to leave quickly and then come back and see if it's from my end. Is that okay?
Alright. Okay.
Nasa breakout room lang naman, breakout sessions sila while they're on breakout session. Sorry.
Alright.
Okay. Hi, sure. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Ayan, I think it works. Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, there we go. I think it will just be a quick activity. Um, and we only have 4 startups, right?
Yes, we do.
So yeah, please let me know. Maybe Geisha can tell us or inform us if the startups are ready to share. Don't worry, this is not graded. We will bawal judgmental. We just want to know what is the vision of your startup, what it is that you're doing, what is the grand vision that you are looking forward as a startup. Can they hear me ba? No.
Ano, I think
Hindi
so.
po ata, ma'am. But I can send a message to them po.
Have they had a session on vision, mission of their startups? What is their why?
Wala pa. But they were able to meet those questions when they had to fill up their mini business plan. But as to
Okay.
talk about it, delve into it, wala. We
Okay.
talked about mission during impact management workshop, but not on the vision.
Okay. Maybe next time, siguro, I don't know, I'll share some insights na lang later with you, Shore. Okay. So I think we gave them enough time already. We can ask them to go back and share their visions with the group.
Okay po, ma'am.
Para pala ako may halo dun sa ring light.
Okay lang naman. Bagay naman. Okay, Miss Alvin, parang pinapabalik pa namin sila.
It's okay, no worries. It's a challenge din kasi to do sessions like this online when everybody is really used to doing face-to-face. Remember, based on experience, usually, di ba, if you're face-to-face, it's very hard for them to talk. So it's harder for them to talk, lalo na pag online. You agree?
Yes, I do. Kasi lalo na din kapag online, hindi maiwasan yung mag-multitask.
True.
Checkmates back. Wala pa iba. Okay, so we're waiting for the other
Guys,
three.
no pressure on the vision. There's no right or wrong answer.
All right, ihatid na lang and we can start the sharing. Okay. Since Shift Tech was the last one to do the sharing during the first part, let's do this order. Shift Tech, Checkmate, Shift Tech, Dirtbag, Shift Tech, Checkmate, Dirtbag, and then ihatid. All right. So let's hear from Checkmate first for the sharing of their Miss Alvin, yung vision nila, no? What
Their
is
vision, the vision of their startups. So just to give you a background, so the vision is the statement that provides direction to your startup. So if you noticed, what's the vision of Microsoft? Every computer for every home, something to that effect. The vision of Facebook is to connect everybody around the world on Facebook, which is currently happening right now, right? In the pandemic, kahit sino we can talk to, we want to see them, it's Facebook. So that's a vision. So now I'll give the floor to the first startup.
So, good morning, Mom. I'm Dad from Checkmate. So, our vision is to accelerate ideas through education and technology. So that's our vision.
Okay.
That's okay, Mom. We can go first.
It's okay. As I've mentioned, there is no right or wrong answer. As you go along with your startup journey, I think you will be able to define a more clear and a more, how do you call it, more reflective vision, mission, and values of your startup. So thank you for sharing. Next.
Hey, good morning, Mom. ShiftTech's vision is to provide better technological solutions to everyday business transactions.
Okay.
That's all, ma'am.
Thank you for sharing. Next startup.
Hello.
Yes.
So sa ihatid, this is still a draft, but in a nutshell, we want to bring businesses to the doors of every household.
Great. Thank you for sharing. And the last one?
Hi, this is RG. I mean Dirtbag. So the vision is be the preferred laundry service provider in the country. Okay.
Okay. Yes. So thank you for sharing all your visions. So I think you might be wondering why are we talking about vision? If we if our topic today is about team dynamics. So do you have any idea of what we mean by team dynamics? Because being a team is different from having team dynamics. So can anybody share what you have in mind when you hear about team dynamics? And why is it related to the vision of your startup?
Team dynamics is synergy po.
Okay, good. Would you know why it is related to the vision of your startup?
Okay, so the synergy of the team will determine whether or not the startup would hit or would be able to fulfill the vision.
Okay, so thank you for that answer. So um, I'll share with you a quick definition of team dynamics. So team dynamics are the psychological forces influencing the direction of a team's performance and behavior or a startup. When we say psychological forces, you know, team is composed of different individuals, interdependent individuals that have different behaviors, different attitudes, different personalities, different backgrounds, or even skill sets. And through that diversity, even if even with that diversity, all these people in or all these team members are working together one shared vision. So if you are a startup, right, the goal is, let's say, to make let's say for Facebook, to make everything connected, everybody connected through the platform. So everybody in the team, regardless of your skill set, regardless of your role, you only have one shared vision. It cannot be a different vision for each individual about the startup. It should always be a shared vision. And team dynamics play a big role because we are different individuals. As you have had a talk earlier, it's about handling organizations. I've heard questions about how would you know if you have the right people? How do you build relationships? So yes, that's part of having team dynamics. So in essence, so team dynamics is the processes and behavior among team members that affect or influence, let's say, how you perform as a team. So again, interdependence among individuals, among teammates, sharing one or trying to achieve one shared vision. Okay, so now that we know what team dynamics is, how many of you are current? I know we have 4 startups right now, but how many are you in your team? Can I start with Dirtbag? How many are you in your group? Founders and team members.
Four founders, ma'am, and 6 employees.
Oh, that's already a lot compared to the others. The next one, sorry, I can't find my list, but can I have the next startup? So we have Dirtbag. Sure, can I have the next startup?
All
How
right,
many
Shift
are there?
Tech. How many are you
Ayon
in your
Shift
team?
Tech.
We are currently 7, ma'am. 5
7.
developers,
Okay, 5
5
developers.
developers, and 2 sales marketing.
Okay.
Ihatid.
6 founders, 5 industrial partners, and 3 employees, 1 trainee. Yun.
And finally, okay. All right, thank you. And finally, Checkmate.
As of now, ma'am, we are composed of 5 uh, founders, 3 developers, which is also the founder, then 1 business and 1 project manager also.
Okay, so thank you for that. So if you notice, there are already a lot of you in the team, and all of you have different personalities. So how do we work together as a team? That is part of team dynamics. So maybe I'll just focus this talk on how do we strengthen team dynamics, because I know you've been working together for quite some time since you started with the boot camps, and you've had that ideation process, even with just your co-founders before hiring your employees. So I'll share with you some tips on how we can strengthen team dynamics. So one is defining purpose. Know and understand the startup's mission, vision, and values. So earlier, I asked all of you to share the vision of your startups. So if we have a clear vision, mission, and you all share the same values as a startup, all of this will lead to alignment. Everybody will work to go together. Everybody would want to contribute to get to that goal or purpose of the startups. Um, um, as a startup, I'm sure you have already had discussions that you ask yourselves, you ask your co-founders, what is it that we want to achieve? Right? And we define those certain goals. We design those purpose. It's very important that there's only one unified vision, mission, and values of the startups. I remember that from my experience, I talk about quickly. I talk quickly about values, because values is very important. Values can be trust, loyalty, hard work, um, honesty, transparency. I remember we had this startup, and when we talked about their values as a startup, there are 3 people who gave us the same vision, values, and one whose value is different. The value would say is hard work. So there are 4 co-founders in the team. 3 co-founders agree that hard work is the value that represents the startup, and this other person's value is resourcefulness. So first things first, why is it not a unified value? How will that person's value affect the team's cohesiveness? So it's very important that you all agree in one value. If let's say hard work, everybody would want to work hard for the startup. Hard work may entail passion. Hard work may entail you giving much time to the startup, dedicating work hours for the startup. While the other person values resourcefulness. Some think, most of the 3 founders think that resourcefulness is just an attribute of hard work. So that's where their conflict started. So they think that, yeah, it's okay, you are maparaan, you are maabilidad, but hard work is different from being maparaan. And that mindset started the conflict within the team. The others does not accept that as a value of the startup, and the one sole person felt left out. So in a group, team dynamics, values, purpose, having a shared goal, shared vision, shared mission, is very, very crucial. So sometimes, maybe, I don't know, I was asking Shore a while ago if you've had sessions on what is your shared vision, what is your vision, mission, and vision, values rather. Maybe you as a team can do a sit down and talk about it, define it. Do you all agree that this is what we are supposed to do, that this is our goal as a startup? Because everything will follow if you are all aligned. Okay? So that's the first step siguro I can share with you, is defining the purpose. If you haven't had a session on defining your teams or your startup's vision, mission, and values, maybe we can ask CDO b.i.t.e.s to have another session on how you can define these startups and make this, kumbaga, the slogan, the quote and unquote, the Bible of your startup. Do you have questions so far?
How do you state the vision, the mission?
The mission is what is the goal that you would want to meet as a startup. The mission is to let's say for AIM, our mission is to be the before when I was working with AIM, our vision is that we will businesses will be very inclusive to everybody that would and these businesses would impact the world, the societies. The mission is that for us to be the platform to be able to deliver that mission. Do you get the difference? The one is the grand goal, the vision is the grand goal, and the mission is how would you be able to do that, to be able to get to that vision. Siguro you can discuss that further in a different session, or maybe I can share with you some materials or a few readings on how you define the vision, mission, and values of the startup.
Yes, thank you din sa example mo kanina, especially yung sa Microsoft. That really helped. That really helped us come up with our vision. Right after you said that, we had a spark of perhaps examples like that will help us.
Okay, sige. We'll try to share some of the examples of vision, missions, and values that is known to men. Okay. So next would be create goals. So you have to set specific goals that the team needs to meet. As a startup, I think you have already discussed what is it that we want to achieve, right? So we have two types of goals. Very easy lang yung definition ko ng two types of goals. It's a short-term goal and a long-term goal. So why are goals important? Because if we do not have any goal, we don't know what we would want to achieve, right? We wouldn't know when we need to achieve it as well. And we will just be at loss. Everybody might be doing a different thing, but then again, I feel that this would help my startup, this would help the team, but then again, it's not concrete, it's not really defined. So it's very important that we have a defined goal. Short-term goals, you have to have, let's say for product development, when you would want to have the first prototype up, You would then be able to define tasks or sub goals on how to get to that launch or first prototype. Um, because if you don't set goals, or if you don't create a short-term and a long-term goal, we wouldn't able to achieve what is really our grand vision or our grand goal. Because for you to come up with a launch, you have to have sub goals. For example, I would want to have the first sales by October 2020. Then we think backwards. So if I want to have it launched by October 2020, what do I need to achieve? I think as early as January, we should be building the prototype. Then by February, we will be able to have the first alpha testing, and so on and so forth, reiterate. So that you would be able to work on a timeline, you would work on a time frame, and everybody would know what is it that is what it is that needs to be done and accomplished at the certain time, right? So for each department in your team, or in each how do you call that? I don't know if it's department, if it's small organizations pala, but for every team member, for the product development, set a goal, set timelines. For sales and marketing, you will be having a different goal, you will be having a different timeline, but all of these are interrelated as well. Okay, so are we clear with setting goals? So next is value team members and their roles. So what do you mean by that? In a nutshell, understand the expertise of team members to match the value of their contributions. There are a lot of you already in the team, right? So some have 7, ShiftTech has 7, Dirtbag has 10, b.i.t.e.s had 6, Checkmate has 5. So each team member brings something different to the table, right? So you have your different functions, you have different roles, you have different responsibilities. There are different tasks that may be assigned to the tech team that will never be assigned to the biz dev team. So that means each role is clearly defined. Each team member understands what their role is. Okay? So if you are capable of doing something or not. And that would be also very important to know what you can and you cannot do. Because if, let's say, me, personally, I am a communications graduate, I say that I am a startup enabler and advocate. But don't talk tech to me because I'm not a techie person. Nosebleed talaga ako dyan. For me, pag sinabing techie, if we talk about technology, I am the end user of that technology, and I wouldn't claim that I am good at technology. Understanding Python, Ruby, and what have you, lahat po yan, naririnig ko lang, but I don't really know, and I wouldn't claim that I know it. But I do know is that if we talk about building relationships, if we talk about events management, I know what I can bring to the table. So it's not just you amongst team members, you value each other, but you also have to know what is the value that you add to the table, right? And when you know that, people acknowledge it. Everybody is aligned that you have different goals, you have different roles and responsibilities. You will be able to contribute better to the team. For the example, remember I said I'm not a techie person. If my teammate is having a problem on developing the UX part of that app, I wouldn't volunteer, because it will not be helping. It will just make it more, how do you call it? siguro in Tagalog, mas makakagulo lang ako kung if I will enforce na parang, oh, I can help you with that because we are a team. No, it's also important that you can delineate what you can and cannot do, right? So if let's say the product team is working on something and they would need, and the product testings, the product, I think it's very important that they own it. For the biz dev person, they own that sales and marketing department aspect of the team. And they would be able to excel in that. And when they excel in that, I think everybody will have that sense of pride and fulfillment that their expertise, their specific skill set is contributing or giving something to your startup. So it makes you proud, right? Na, okay, and oo, kami ang gumawa niyan, tech team. So you and everybody says, yes, tech team, that's a good job, and you feel valued. So you always value the contribution of each team member. Working together as a team, again, is about different personalities, different behaviors, different expertise, and in each of that person should be valued. Appreciate what you can do, appreciate what the other team members do, and then maybe, you'll figure it out that you're the only one in the team can do that. So value that skill set, value that expertise, and of course, don't just value the expertise, but value the team member as well. So once the team member is valued, then definitely that team member would want to do more or contribute to the startup. Okay, so do you have questions on valuing team members and roles? Next is communicating. So communicating means having an open line of effective communication. I think the key word here is effective communication. So what do you mean by effective communication? Usually when we say communicate, it's just us telling how we feel, giving insights, informing people of stuff that's happening around us. But I'd want you to think about the word effective communication. Why? Because effective communication is about providing information in a clear, precise, and timely manner. Okay? So how can I give you an example of having a clear, precise, and how do you call it? Timely communication. If let's say I work in a fabrication lab and we're doing this ear savers using our 3D printers. And I am the one in charge of the stock room, the materials that are needed in production of that ear savers. I was checking the stocks and I found out that the filament left is only 2 rolls. And the team needs to produce 1,000 ear savers. Kunwari lang to na the number ratio. 2 filaments, 2 rolls of filaments can produce only 200, but we need to produce 1,000. So I already know it. And what do I do with that information after? So I have to go to the procurement team or the purchasing department and inform them. Right there and then, if let's say it's still work hours, or send them an email that, we are going to produce, we need to produce 1,000 ear savers. But I checked our stocks and we only have 2 roll of filaments that would produce 200. We need 800, and we will be short of 800 ear savers. So we need to order right now as soon as possible, have it delivered by Thursday next week, so that we will be able to set our target and meet so that we will be able to meet our target of 1,000 ear savers by end of the month. So how was that effective? I got the information that I need, because I was the one who technically saw it, witnessed it, observed it, right? So I told it to the procurement team immediately. That's being timely, because if I know that the filaments are running out, I don't want to wait for the last roll of filament to be used up before I inform the procurement team. They need to be informed right away, because the material should be delivered as soon as possible to be able to meet targets. So do you get what I mean by effective communication? So you have your facts straight. You have to be very clear. We need filament. Okay, and then what, right? Or let's say, we cannot just be, the team is struggling. We are having problems with finances due to low volume of sales. And then there you come. Oh yeah, oo nga, we have low volume of sales. Hirap, no? It's good that you acknowledge that, but then again, you have to make sure that, it's not a typical conversation ng nagchichikahan lang kayo. But in terms of you running your business, you have to tell them, yeah, it's hard. Maybe we can set goals. Maybe we can sit down and talk on how we will re-strategize and meet these targets. It has to be also planned as well when you deliver your information to other people. Okay? So, yes. So also, when we say an open line of communication, have you heard of the open door policy in offices? When the big bosses just sits with everybody, it's not in a very locked office, sits in one of the cubicles, or even if they have their own office, they always keep the door open, and anybody can just knock and say, can I have a minute or two? I need to discuss something. So I think we should also make our team members feel that we have that open line of communication. Don't have that barrier amongst you that, I think we are having problems with product development, but I think I'm not the best person to tell the CEO. Maybe you talk to that CEO. I talk to the the CFO, and tell her that, we are having problems with product development. The developer is not responding to my emails. He's not listening to the UI UX feedback. I talk to the CFO about it. But is that the right avenue for you, or is it the right person that you are talking to, right? So I think having that mindset that, okay, I can talk directly to the person in charge about this. I can discuss, I can give feedback, is very important amongst yourselves. As you start your businesses, it's very important that you build a trust, a culture of trust and transparency amongst yourselves. I remember, Shore and the rest of the CDO b.i.t.e.s team know this, that in AIM, Dado Banato Incubator, it's just Prim and I. We're just two in the team that manages the incubator. And as much as possible, dadalawa na nga lang kami, imposibleng hindi pa kami mag-usap about the things happening in the incubator, right? So we make sure that we are very transparent to each other on what is happening. We tell each other that, yeah, the talk didn't do well, the attendees can be improved. It's very important that you also discuss this, so you would know that there is always room for improvement on how you can do things better the next time together as a team as well. So yeah, so again, if you also to the point of communication, because if you don't know what affects your startup, you don't know what's happening in your startup, that might also hinder or be a roadblock in meeting your startup goals. Okay. Next would be meeting regularly. Um, I know this pandemic has brought everybody to an idea that working from home lang tayo parate. You do your own stuff, maybe just give quick updates, email lang tayo, or let's just chat and Viber. I think it would still be very important that you as a team meet regularly. I've had this practice before when I was still in the BPO industry years ago, that every Monday is ops meeting day. So that's when all of the team managers talk of what would be the goals of the week, who are assigned to those goals, what would be strategies on meeting that goals, and be ready to present all of these discussions in the next meeting. So it's very important that you are, again, alignment. You are all aligned to what you need to do or achieve. In these meetings, you also set your short-term and long-term goals. Who owns this certain tasks? Who is accountable for such delivery of tasks? So these team meetings are very important. Make it an avenue for the startup to discuss your challenges, to discuss your even small wins, provide feedback, get insights, or even share ideas. Maybe through this, maybe if you've had short meetings, or even during these meetings that you have, you'd get to share ideas, and maybe these talks or these short talks during meetings would be able to give you ways to make your service or your product better. So also it can also be an avenue for you to really discuss issues of your startup. Again, if you don't discuss anything, especially issues, nothing will happen. No solution will be done. No solution will be formulated, kumbaga. No action will be done. So it's very important that you meet as a team, you give updates, you give constant updates, you provide feedback. Also, having these short meetings brings you a little closer as a team, right? Now that we're doing everything virtually, it would be nice to see your faces. Wag naman nga lang yung parang typical Pilipina na, ay shucks, ba't parang tumataba ka? Hindi ka nakasya sa monitor ko. Wag naman ganon. But it would be, oh, nice to see you. It would be nice to see faces that, yeah, you have that facial expression that you see your team members are excited to see you, to give you updates on what they are doing. So, because if lagi namang naka-off yung camera natin, parang you really won't be focused. Siguro one thing I'd share with you in teams, in having team meetings online, is that it would always be best if bandwidth permits or internet connection permits. It would always be good to share your video, especially if within your startup. Why? Because one, you would know that you are focused on that meeting only. We tend kasi to multitask. As I was talking offline kanina to Shore, we tend kasi to multitask when we are having meetings online. And that technically takes away our focus from what it needs to be discussed in that meeting. For example, if let's say I am an attendee of this meeting and my camera is off, I can just be turning on the microphone, um, turning turning off the camera, just listen to the speaker and just do this. You know, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, you know. But the thing is, I'm not really into the meeting. So my recommendation, my suggestion, if you can always turn on your team, your videos during meeting, it would be really appreciated that each team member, because you know that you are really in that meeting. Okay? So questions so far. Okay, so I have a few minutes left, so I'll proceed to the last slides that we have. So second to the last is celebrating successes and failures. Of course, let's recognize big wins, small wins. Let's also recognize failures or losses. Why do we need to celebrate successes and failures? Because we don't want to be burned out, you know, especially in celebrating success. We wouldn't want it that, you know, all we think about is, sige, I just need to meet this target. I need to get this product up. I need to reiterate. I need to get the sales done. And then that's it. You meet the target. Okay, you meet the target. That's it. But it's also very important that, wow, we acknowledge that. Yes, we were able to meet the target. Good luck. Good job, team. We did the job well done. That also makes the people appreciated that they are part of the team. You celebrate successes of individuals, and you celebrate successes of the team as well. Not just an individual, but more importantly as a team. But why do we also need to recognize failures? Because failures help us learn. We have to learn from these failures. If a product didn't work, if the product had bad reviews, then this recognizing these losses, I'd quote and unquote, would help us reiterate what is it that we do wrong. We would want to be more resilient. We'd want to be more adaptive to be able to meet the targets, to be able to get our product out in the market as as we go through and build our startup. So yes, so it's celebrate successes. Maybe if you have just had a very good launch or a good result of the first of your alpha prototype, celebrate that. But it doesn't also have to mean about everything about the technology, everything about the sales, everything about getting in clients. It can also be as simple as we are just moved in, right? Or we just moved into the office, we just reorganized the office. A simple success would only be you getting part of an incubator program, right? That's already a success as a startup. That means technically you have been validated that what you're doing is something that would make it big. So celebrate those successes as a team, and make sure that you know that or maybe you can keep track of all these successes so that as you go along your startup journey, you will be able to look back and say, you know, we've had these small successes, we've had these teeny bitty failures that made us to where we are right now. So that's it. And lastly, technically this is my take on strengthening team dynamics, because you don't usually see this, or you will never see this when you read about team dynamics online or even in books. But for me, I think it's very important that you have fun as a team. Having fun means enjoying the work that you do, enjoying the people that you work with, enjoying the environment. Because I firmly believe that, you know, when you enjoy what you're doing, it's really never work. And that sense of enjoyment that you have reflects on the output that you do. You know, you don't have a heavy heart every time you go to a client pitch, and then the client technically get that feel that parang napipilitan lang siyang mag-present, no? So that also affects how you deliver, how you present tasks if you are not enjoying what you do. So um, also part of having fun is having those team buildings, having those coffee breaks together. It's important also that you feel that you are part of the team. We are not just here um, to um, defeat Facebook success, but we're also here to enjoy what we do while we are defeating or while we are building this company. So it's also this is my take. I personally, um, when I work in the startup industry, I realized that this is the thing that I like doing the most. So and that is also reflective in the people I work with. They know that this is something passionate. I am something passionate about, so that when I am asked to do work, or I am asked, let's say, by my former boss that what you attend events, you represent the incubator. I'd love to do it. Why? Because I enjoy doing it. I don't consider it work, and I just consider it something as I like to do and get the bonus of being paid to do it. You know that sense. So that makes me be able to fulfill my role as a community manager. I know my value as an individual. That my boss values that. I love doing events, and he acknowledges that that is a role that I would love to do. Um, so it's also again, it's very important that you have fun. As siguro, just to summarize, um, there may be a lot of issues that you are encountering as a team, as an individual, but it's very important that you know that you are working with a team. Sabi nga nila, di ba, as cliche as it might sound, there is no I in team. And team dynamics is very important. You have to know your role, and having that right role, the right person for the right role will be able to help you meet your targets. You will be able to achieve goals, not alone, but together. Siguro I'd like to end this presentation before we proceed to Q&A with a quote from Steve Jobs. So maybe, of course, everybody knows Steve Jobs, and maybe you can relate to this. So as a team, think about this. Great things in businesses are never done by one person. So even Steve Jobs, we might really adore him, we might really be inspired by him, but Apple wasn't built by Steve Jobs alone. He had a team, he had a group of people to work with, regardless of different backgrounds, attitudes, but they have one common goal, is to build that Apple empire that everybody appreciates. So on that note, thank you. And do we have time for Q&A? Sure. I'm sorry. I think it's 10:59 already.
I think we do. We can extend a few more minutes. If any of you incubatees have any questions, please feel free to raise it now.
May question po ako.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Okay, this is with regards po sa kasi team dynamics, no? But one of the problems that we have, and I've realized this during your sa presentation, that it's really important to to celebrate victories and even failures, and keep everyone keep the feeling na ano, everyone is part of a team. So in our team kasi we are composed of not individual members but groups per department, parang subgroups. So we have the development team, we have the marketing, and operations. So sometimes we get so busy, and we have so many tasks to do. One of the things that I am struggling with is keeping the fire, or the ano, motivation, the life enthusiasm of everyone amidst the barrage of challenges. Na it's okay lang sana if a day or a few weeks the challenges, but sometimes it stretches. Like right now we have challenges that has been going on for quite a while, and it's really difficult to keep up the motivation of everyone. So how do we try to to maintain that, or even to inspire continually?
um, all of us really are having challenges, not regardless if it's in the business, in family life, or personal life. But I think um, it would always be nice to take time to stop and think of what is it that we can celebrate for, even just for today. Let's say you've mentioned that you have different departments. Maybe a simple celebration would be, celebration quote and unquote, is that you've called for a team meeting or a general assembly because you might already be big, and everybody was able to attend. Celebrate it in a way that yes, everybody's here, everybody is safe and well. We are here, we are ready, we still have jobs, we are working on good problems, um, happy problems that we can solve as a company. You keep them motivated by one. If you are a founder, I think it would be best that you try to get in touch with each and every department and know what they have achieved and what they are still working on. And when you know what have been achieved, then maybe you can acknowledge that. How do you acknowledge that? I remember before, part of being an incubator, we have, let's say we have 8 teams, and we have 8 Viber groups for each team, and we have one Viber group that have everybody in that team, have everybody, all of the startups in that Viber group. So for each Viber group, whether it's a big win or a small win, because people, in Viber groups, you just say that, um, I'm creating this speech deck for blah, 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 but they canceled last minute because they had to prioritize something due to the pandemic. So technically, you feel bad about it, right? But then again, somebody comes in that, I was able to finish, but you do know that there's another department in the team that was able to meet a certain target. Let's say they were able to get on board a new team member that would help them in UX development. Then maybe you can announce that in the team, in Viber, that, we have a new developer to help us with UX or UI development. And then you try to make it as happy or sound happy or as excited as you may be, that maybe you could add emoji, hooray, welcome to the team. So those are little things that you can really celebrate. It may not be really as achieving something, but something that you would want to appreciate and you would want to be grateful for. Something that would also be helpful would be, remember I told you that individual Viber groups and one grand Viber group for all. So if I know that there is somebody or a startup that had a presentation or was invited to be a speaker for an activity, what I do is that I try to screenshot or capture or get a copy of that photo or that poster, and I share it with a group Viber, yung panglahatan na. And then I say, congratulations, for example, sure, good luck on your talk. We will be cheering for you. So those are simple acts that you can do to motivate people, keep the fire burning, kumbaga, that, there are things that we should be grateful for. Let's not just focus on hurdles or challenges. Right now, you say that it's been weeks now. But one success that I would say is that your startup is not folding up. There are a lot of business have folded up. And yes, we're still here fighting. Ano yung sabi nila sa Korean novela, Aja? No, we are still fighting. We are still doing this, and we are surviving. So that's something that you can celebrate as well. Or maybe you can just say to your team, thank you for standing by me. Thank you for your time and effort in helping these problems. I appreciate all the work you've done, but maybe since it's a Saturday, let's just not focus on that, and maybe let's have an inuman session. It also helps you build the camaraderie and the rapport with you and your team. So in a way or another, that would also help you build the trust and transparency among your team members. So I hope that was helpful for you.
Thank you, ma'am. That was helpful.
Thank you. Kaya yan. Sabi nga ng lahat, laban lang. Sa panahon ngayon, yun ang goal natin, laban lang.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes.
I have a question as well. It's related to that. Speaking of celebrations, I personally believe that the most effective way to break down barriers and, of course, improve team dynamics is experiential learning. So making memories, doing and accomplishing things together. So basically being together. So given our current situation wherein we need to practice social distancing, aside from online meetings, how do we do that, ma'am?
For me, I'm a very outgoing person, and and it's very hard. I to be very upfront, I miss doing events, I miss attending events, I miss seeing people, but everything now is virtual, right? But I think the online meeting is something that we can really just optimize and maximize. I personally have a group chat with some friends, and even if we really would want to see each other, like today, I'm celebrating my birthday. I would want to meet people because I know that the restaurants are open already in Metro Manila, right? But I'm kind of afraid to go out, even though with all the face shield and all, and eat in restaurants. So my friends and I who are also celebrating, I also have another friend who's just celebrated his birthday the other day. We just scheduled a session we scheduled a chat session or an inuman session this evening, and we just ask everybody that let's have a cake and wine night. So make sure that you have cake, you have wine tonight, otherwise X ka sa group tonight. So maximize nyo lang you're lucky. We were all lucky that we have FaceTime, we have Messenger, we have chat. So imagine if this happened around 20 years ago, na ang phones natin ay, ano nga yun? May tawag doon, analog ba? Yung pang text lang. So imagine mo that when you had that and you would want to stay connected, ang kaya mo lang magawa is makipag-chat at only chat at hindi mo nakikita yung kausap mo. So I think right now, it's a challenge, but I think we have to be grateful of what we have right now. Let's just be grateful that we have this technology. We have all these social media platforms that get us connected. Use these platforms to celebrate all the successes. I know it's very limiting, but we will have to do it for now. That's also for the safety of everybody. But yun nga, I mentioned a while ago that you schedule regular meetings. Maybe also schedule, inuman sessions with your teams. Para lang walang burnout na. Tuwing mag-uusap tayo, my God, tatanungin na naman ako nito kung nasaan na ako. Tatanungin na naman ako nito kung na-meet ko ba ang target ko. Tatanungin na naman ako nito if nakakolekta ba ako. 'Di ba? So, those stuff, make sure that those are just for meetings. But when you do inuman sessions, make sure that it's really just time away from work. Have somebody, or make it a rule amongst yourselves that, dito positive lang ang pag-uusapan natin. Ang magsabi ng nega, may multa. Makakaiwan tayo ng pang team building kapag may nagsabi ng about work. Gusto ko tonight, ang uusapan lang natin is yung love life, yung sinapping mo sa Lazada or sa Shopee, anong pinagkakapuyatan mo sa Netflix, so that you will also avoid burnout. And then make also the sessions a way to celebrate that yes, we were able to get a client despite the pandemic. So have a quick call to everybody if you can do that and say, hey guys, the sales and development team got a client, blah 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 blah, or just Viber group at least, or email, at least everybody would know that something good is happening about your startup or about the company.
Thank you, ma'am. That was very helpful.
Thank you.
So do we have one last question before we can finally wrap up the session? None? Going once, going twice. Okay, I think that's about it. Again, thank you so much, Miss Alwyn, for that wonderful, informative talk on team dynamics. I'm sure that the incubatees have learned a lot today, even though they weren't giving that much questions. I think that exactly shows that your presentation alone was good enough for them. So they were able to learn a lot today with regards to keeping their team happy while making their startup meet their vision and mission. We've now reached the end of today's Fire session. So before we end with a virtual group photo with Miss Alwyn, I'd like to call on Rhea, the project leader of City of b.i.t.e.s, to give the closing remarks.
Ayun. Hi! So happy birthday, Miss Alwyn. Great na for
you.
Yes. So
Miss ko na kayo ni Shore. Sorry Oh.
So more than anything, thank you to our esteemed speakers. We have Sir Marion earlier and Miss Alwyn that you've just recently heard and viewed. So more than anything, cohesion in a team is very much important in a startup success. So regardless if you have the most fascinating idea, the most innovative technology in the market, however, if the team members, be it the founders or the employees, are not working collaboratively, then expect failure as you move forward. And precisely the startup cannot move forward because of conflicts and such. No wonder we really have a dedicated Firestarter session for team dynamics, because as early as now, before you improve your technology readiness level, your prototype, or before you even go to your consumers, you just need to make sure to assess amongst yourselves if you are really working with the right people and if you have the right people on board. So as startup founders, even startup competitions are really looking into the team dynamics. They actually tend to invest on startups that have team members whom they think really have a very great cohesiveness amongst themselves, because they believe that the attitude of the team is more than important, because the kind of team members that will have can really opt to move mountains and continue to move forward. Hence, they are more inclined to invest on teams rather than the idea or the technology that was pitched. So I hope that this session really brings in more avenue for you to learn. And please, even though if you don't have assignments for this session, it would already be a good activity for everyone in the startup to look amongst yourselves. Are you really in the right team and the startup? Are you working towards achieving the vision and the mission that was reiterated? Are you all steering in the same direction, or is there someone in the group that tends to topple the boat over and make the startup fail? With that being said, thank you so much for attending, and I hope that you learned a lot from our speakers this morning.
Thank you so much, Rhea, for that inspiring closing remarks. And now, I know it's time na, so let's please open cameras, please, so we can do the right. So again, happy birthday, Miss Alwin!
Thank you.
Happy birthday! Mag-milk tea rin tayo.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, kid. All right. Okay, ready when you are. Okay. Smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's done. Thank you very much, Miss Alwin. Thank you, Incubatees, for joining us.
Stay safe,
all right,
everybody.
See you next Saturday. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Happy
keep
birthday.
safe. Happy birthday again,
Thank
Miss
you,
Alwin.
thank you.
Birthday, ma'am.
Thank you. Celebrate tayo pagpunta ko dyan.
Yes! Yes! Saan ko yan?
Guilty makapon.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Okay, enjoy your birthday.
Make sure to greet your team members that, check with them from time to time how they are doing. Last tip. How they are doing, whether it's work-related or not. It's nice to feel that I am still part of the team and that I am not just here to work, but I have teammates who are also are concerned about me. So yeah, stay safe.
Bye.
Bye, Mom. Happy birthday.
Thank you.